Welcome to the journey where we talk to parents of athletes on how they got their kids to where they are. I'm here with Ray Caldwell, one of the most influential men in grassroots basketball, who raised two amazing daughters who had very successful basketball careers. So my first question for you is, when did you first fall in love with basketball?
First and foremost, thanks for having me.
Of course.
And I stay in love with basketball because of people like you, using your platform to grow your own personal brand and enrich others. I thank you for this opportunity and you keep me happy. So I still in love with the game because of you. Now, when did I fall in love with the game? 1985. We moved from Compton, California to Las Vegas for 9 months. And I had an uncle that played for the Harlem Globetrotters then. Never touched the ball when I lived in Compton. Went to the Thomas and Mack Center and went to a sold out game with the great late Jerry Tartanian. And I think I can still name that starting five, but it was nothing like it. And I had never been in an environment that young black men were celebrated like that. So ever since then, I was in love with the game, moved back to California to the Inland Empire 9 months later to a small town in the Inland Empire called Banning, which was just a smaller version of Compton. And it's a very basketball heavy town. And ever since then, I mean, some of my closest friends to this day, I met that first week on a basketball court. So that's when I fell in love with the game.
Okay, so tell me more about you and your kids.
I have two interesting daughters, sort of like you, very headstrong, very confident young women. My wife and I met at an early age, our freshman year in college. And, you know, we grew up with our kids. So, you know, we have a great relationship. Both of them are now married. They've used this basketball or the game of basketball to get free degrees and essentially meet their husbands and start families.
So what did it look like for your daughters in elementary school?
Well, they're 4 years apart. So my oldest played her first basketball games in the fifth, when she was 5 years old. She played 10 games a year until the age of 9, all with boys. She never played a girl until the age of 9. I put her with my high school teammate, Marcelo Landine. And it's interesting because, you know, a quick story about that, her very first game, I didn't push the game on her. Her very first game on the line, she misses 2 free throws and shoots 2 air balls. And it just was a microcosm of our relationship for the rest of her basketball career and even our life. The reason why is I didn't allow her to jump at the free throw line. So she went through her routine that we had worked on outside at the park, and she shot 2 free throws, both of them air balls. And she looked at me at the end of the game like I betrayed her. Like, Dad, all my teammates are jumping and just throwing the ball over the line. And you remember at that age, you could just grab the ball and run like a running back. I didn't allow her to. You're going to dribble the right way. You're going to pass the right way. And she missed those free throws. And it was really embarrassing in front of all those young boys. And she looked at me like, I can't believe you set me up for failure. But the next game, 2 more air balls, but she still shot it the same way. And I'm very, very proud that she stuck to the script and believed in me. And we have a great relationship to this day behind it. And then the same thing with my youngest. I think she picked up the ball, Desiree, just because she saw the attention that her sister was getting. I don't know if it mirrors a situation with you and Kingston, but you see your father always with Kingston, hey, I want to go ahead and play as well. So it was never a situation where Desiree said, like Rasay told me at the age of 9, I want to be a pro. So I took her to her first LA Sparks. We still lived in California at that time. And Lisa Leslie game, and she says, I want to be a pro. So in elementary, we really got serious. Desiree never made that proclamation. Her deal was, hey, I'm always in the gym. I just might as well play.
Okay, so everyone always talks about trusting the process. So what did it look like when starting the process with your kids?
I played the game. I thought I knew the game. But what I did was dive into people who were smarter than me. I had a buddy, and I wouldn't call him a buddy, he was an OG where I grew up. His son was really nice, again in Banning. His name was Vidi. And I saw him, I used to manage a boys' home. And I used to always take my boys out there to play, flag football, basketball, different games. And Vadi would be out there training his kid. And he was super nice, super advanced. And I asked him, I said, how is it that you got your kids so advanced? I'll never forget it. He says, at the end of the day, all they want to do is be with you. And that always stuck with me. So I really dove in from the intellectual side, DVD clubs, books, really tried to learn, pick a lot of brains. But I just realized at the end of the day, as long as I was there at 5 a.m, rebounding for her, both of them, they were gonna wanna go ahead and be better because it was a cooperative measure between us.
And did they play any other sports when starting?
Desi, my baby, you know Desi, your OG. She's very assertive. She played soccer for one season, indoor soccer, and she used to steal a ball from the boys, have them crying. She just go, you ain't getting it in the net, I'm gonna go get it myself. So that's who my little point guard is. That's the only sport that she played outside of basketball, and that was just one season. So not like track or nothing extensive, but yeah, that's the only other sport she played.
And did it help with basketball?
As far as, she didn't play enough for it to help. To be honest with you, if I could do it all over again, I would have them play different sports.
Okay.
Surely from a fast twitch standpoint.
And were they naturally good when they first started playing basketball? Did it take some time?
My friends would see Rasay and see me in Rasay. I didn't see it. Obviously, as a young female, she didn't have a fast twitch like I had, but when they see mannerisms and how she was vocal on the court and how she shot the ball, all my high school, college teammates would see her and say they could see it. Was she good initially? She was pretty good. After a year of intense training at 10, we went to nationals when everybody still used to go to AAU. It's about 150, 200 teams back then. They finished 5th in the country. She was one of the best players there because she shot the ball so well. As far as Desiree, way more dynamic. She was a lot better than Rasay early because she was in the gym earlier. Mind you, Rasay from 5 to 9 only played 10 games a year versus boys. But Desiree at 5 was always in the gym. One thing I realized about Desiree is subconsciously, she would pick up the game. She would be in the crowd with my wife at Rasay's game in Dallas or Houston, but she was picking up the game and I didn't realize that, yes, she's on her iPad or whatever it may have been, she was really soaking up the game differently.
So I know you said Rasay wanted to be a pro. So did you start with any specific goal in mind for them?
To be a pro? Not them, but with Rasay. Rasay wanted to be a pro. And what happened was that very next day, and I was waiting on her. I never pushed it on her. Once she told me she wants to be pro for her birthday, took her to the Sparks game. That next day I woke her up at 5 and she's a sleepyhead. It was tough to get her up. So for like 2 weeks, I would wake her up. I kid you not, I've shared this story on numerous occasions. After then, she was always waking me up. I would come home and go back to sleep. She would watch NBA TV. And I'm talking, when she gets home, we're talking about who the night before had how many stats, what they did. She just bought into the game. Until this day, she shares that with her husband. She can tell you who someone in Philly had 3 games ago. So definitely she bought in and I bought in with her.
So did y'all travel any in elementary school?
Yes. We lived in the Inland Empire at that time in a place called Menifee, and I used to drive 2 hours up and 2 hours back, 3 times a week for her to practice. Now in that gym, you had Momo Billings, who's, I think she's not longer with the Atlanta Dream. I think she's with the Atlanta Dream. Lonjanae Drummer, who's a pro. There was a lot of talent in that gym, Corona Lady Diamonds. But yes, if you call that traveling. We did go to Florida, like I said, with AAU.
So early on, did you care about winning and losing?
Never. Still don't. It was all about development.
And how is the dynamic of being a dad and a coach?
That's the hardest thing, and I don't know if I still have it figured out. I stopped going to my kids' college games because I hated being disappointed in them over a game. But it took a long time to get to that point. Her husband now, her very last college game, the game before NCAA tournament, I'm talking about my oldest, she had something like 12, 13 assists. She played with the all-time leading scorer at Cal, Christina Nigwe. They beat Michigan. They played Melissa, Baylor, who went on to win the championship later that year. And I'm in the crowd, and De'Aaron shows up. And this is my second time meeting him. And Rasay was playing very passive. Now this is her third school. She's 22 years old. And I'm yelling out, "You're shook. Are you shook?" Well, he didn't know my vernacular. So he thought I was saying something else. And it was shameful of what he thought I was saying. Shook as in, are you scared? Of course she wasn't scared. She done made 2 USA teams. She had 40 points in a Big 12 game. She wasn't scared. I just couldn't get out of my way that I didn't perceive that she was going down swinging in her last college game. Never mind that I don't know what the coach wanted her to do. I didn't know the game plan. Now, I had coached at college already by then, yet I still couldn't get out of the way as a father. So it's very complicated. I don't know if I figured it out, but even to this day, I don't really like watching my son-in-law because I still have that critical eye. So I hated being upset with my children because of it. Desiree was even tougher.
For my last question, so if you could tell the parents of elementary school students anything, what would it be?
Concentrate on development and don't live the ball is life crap. You're setting your kid up to fail from the foundation with the ball is life crap.
Thank you for joining me on his journey. Join me for the next episode where we talk about middle school.